What is the best fleet mining setup for the money? We're talking about efficiency, right? Really low hours on ROI, all that stuff. And I'm going to talk about that today. And I'm going to give my recommendations for a solo fleet mining setup that I think will be great for people getting into mining or fleet mining. Or even if you're out there rolling with Exhumers and Orca, I think looking at something like this and looking at these numbers, you're you're probably going to start thinking that you could probably do things a little cheaper. This video is brought to us by our Patreon members, so I encourage you guys to go check out the Patreon page. Link is in the description. That is how we kind of keep the lights on, among everything else. Footage you're seeing actually is Porpoise and Coter. Now, yeah, barges, right? Not as good as Exhumers, but I'm pretty sure if I broke down total ISK cost for a fleet and cubic meters of ore, like yield, this setup I'm going to give you today is going to be probably in one of the higher categories. And I'm probably going to do a video actually kind of covering all that and everything. But I'll give you my numbers and everything. And I highly encourage you, if you're ever interested in seeing full mining runs, then go over to my other channel, Zero ROI, link also in the description, where you can see our 2 hour long, no commentary mining sessions, and you can really see the numbers at play here. In fact, this whole setup, this whole mining session you're seeing in this video, that's a 2 hour mining session. So if you don't believe me and my numbers, you can go look at that and see exactly how the gameplay is and all of that. So this is going to require 2 accounts. So you're going to need a command ship and you're going to need a alt. So if you haven't actually started making alts yet for your mining fleet, then it's a good time to kind of get those guys started in alpha form. Get those guys training up to that 5.5, so when you turn on Omega for them, they're good to go. Make sure you get them that 1 million skill points too. Use that referral link in the description. What I do is I set up that alpha tune. I keep that 1 million skill points in that reward window. When they hit that 5.5 million after a few months and I'm ready to go Omega with them, I redeem that 1 million. They're at 6.5. And they're pretty close to being able to fly something like the Coter and stuff like that. So if you're interested in this strategy and you don't have an alt, then yeah, use that link. Get those guys training, because 3 months of alpha training is free training. We are going to be using first a Porpoise. Now, Porpoise is great because it's cheap, it's fast, and we don't need a whole lot of bells and whistles. Now, I recommend running this setup in a 0.9 or a 1 high security system. You can go after Veldspar and do really well an hour. But more importantly, there's no rats that spawn on belts in 0.9 and 1. So we can just not have drones at all. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Like this video you're watching, the footage you're watching, no drones. No drones on the Porpoise, no drones on the Coter, nothing. Now, we are tanking out the Porpoise a little bit. So we are going to start off with some shields. Actually, in the lows, I like going. I actually like going damage control and a reinforced bulkhead, just because that's a pretty good combo that I've used with quite a bit of stuff here and there. We're not gonna go any rigs. We're not gonna go drone rigs. We're not gonna do mining with the drones. None of that stuff. We want to go rigless. So we want to break this thing down, put it in a fleet hangar of some sort, and move it around. We kind of have that option. So for our mid slots, we're also going to go with a shield here. I like going with the extenders, going like a couple of larges right here, and then we'll do some just general multi-spec right here. We can kind of adjust this tank as needed. These might need to come down in compacts. I don't really remember how I had this one fit, but we're also going to go to our highs now. We want our fleet assistant modules. We want Mining Foreman Burst 2. We want 2 of those. And then also we're going to do our compressor. We will be using our compressor, and we will be using our industrial core. But here's the thing. Now, the Tech 2 industrial core will use, when you have all the skills, 150 units. So you got to kind of factor that into your cost. But we're going to go with the Tech 1, which is only going to use 225 units. 25 units. Now imagine that. That's basically nothing. You know, I think I used probably, in this whole 2 hour session that I have on this gameplay, I want to say I probably used 15% of the fuel bay, the fuel hold, for 2 hours of constant core mining. So obviously, like, your bursts are not going to be as good as if you're using a Tech 2, but we're fine with that. We're absolutely fine with that. Now, as far as charges go, we're going to sleep on the preservation charge. We're going to go field enhancement charge. And then we're also going to go optimization charge. And then we'll throw some of these. We can carry like 10,000 of these or so in our inventory here. So that brings our total for this up to about 195 million. I'm gonna actually pull this. I'm gonna pull this and the Covetor fit out into Janus, and so you can see the actual cost and everything. So this is what we're gonna have. We're gonna have this guy out there with the Covetor, and we're gonna be boosting it, and we're just gonna be compressing and sucking down belts. It took me 2 hours to take down one belt in high sec, and my value in hold was like 40 million. Covetor has a really crap tank. It's paper tank. We're not going to worry about tanking it. It's going to be a yield stick. We're going to do nothing but put yield on this thing. So this is where training comes in a little bit more, because we're going to go modulated on all this. So first we'll start off with the lows here. We're going to go with our harvest equipment. We're going to go mining laser upgrades on all 3 slots. And then on our high slots, yeah, we're going to go modulated right here. And what we're going to do is, since we're in high sec and that asteroid ore is just so plentiful, we're going to use modulated type B Tech 2s, right? It's going to give us lower cycle time, higher yield. So now we're looking at about 18.6 cubic meters a second for each. That's unboosted. We're going to get like 41k range. So you can go on one edge of an asteroid belt. You can pretty much sit there for like an hour and a half before you really have to move. It's really great. And then what you can do is, you can actually align your porpoise to the rock that's out of your range. You have your Covetor following that porpoise. So when you're ready to move, you just red your industrial core, and then the porpoise will start moving. Once it gets up to max speed, just turn on the industrial core again, and then it'll turn the engines off, and you can just drift. So this is what I call like a core pulsing. It allows us to move around the belt without having very minimal downtime on the core. And it doesn't take much. You can like literally let the core expire and then turn it back on, and you'll be moving at like 25 meters a second. And you kind of keep doing that to like kind of move around and everything. But for the footage for this, I pretty much just stayed in one spot for like an hour and a half, and I was able to reach all the way out to like 40k, which is great. The total cost for this shown in the window here is about 77 million. But what I did was I pulled all these out into Janus, and we threw them up over here. Now, this is where it gets interesting right here, because this is everything. Like, this is the whole thing. Both ships, all the charges, all that stuff. 265 million for a 2-account mining setup that can do, I would say, about 20 million an hour. That's pretty damn good, right? That's pretty damn good. Let's check out this split here. And just so, you guys can see my math on this, we're going to divide... we're going to divide this by 20 million. 20 million is, I was getting like 18 or so, but in the video, I was actually running a multi-spec. So what I did was, for this fit, I dropped the multi-spec, dropped the tank on the Covetor, and went with another mining laser upgrade. So I think you'd be a solid 20 going into here. So we're going to divide this by 20 million. You're looking at about 13 hours. For me, for the fit you're seeing on this footage, about 15 hours of ROI on this. So that means it would take you about 15 hours of mining to pay for this setup completely. But I think what's more important here too is the cost of this entire setup is cheaper than a Mackinac. Actually, I think it's cheaper than a Skiff fitted. It's definitely cheaper than a Hulk fitted. So if you're on a budget, if you're trying to build that stockpile, build that kind of wealth, and you have a couple of accounts, you want decent yield, this is the setup for you, right? You're just going to be going out every day in that porpoise, boosting that Covetor, and just sucking down belts. If you're able to play a couple hours a night, you can kill a belt a day. That's 40 million in your pocket. If you're using it for manufacturing, that's, millions a trit. that you can start kind of manipulating with and messing around with. So I figured I'd cover that today. Give you guys my recommendations for a really good, high efficient mining setup for fleets. And just to kind of reiterate, you don't need a lot of tank on this cover, right? Even if you tank it out completely, it just doesn't have enough baseline, so you might as well just go full yield stick on it and do what you gotta do. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out the Patreon. It's members over there that make the channel possible. Also, YouTube membership. You get early access to new videos over there as well. We got like, a couple of weeks of videos for early access on there right now. And hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. All that good stuff. And use that creator code. You see it on the screen here. If you ever go to the EVE Online web store, put that in at checkout. And that helps support the channel as well. If you're getting into fleet mining and you need that, all to, get up to speed really quick, use that referral link in the description, right? Keep that 1 million skill points in that reward window. When they're done with that 5.5 million, you turn them Omega, boom, they magically have 6.5, pretty close to being a pilot for this coveter. This will also work with expert systems. So if you're using expert systems, you'll be able to get those alts started even quicker. But with all that being said, appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.